Big Bang Theory Season 6 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am, a rewatching or watching The Big Bang Theory, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description for you. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any sort of spoilers. This will be The Big Bang Theory Season 6, Episode 22. The title of this episode is called The Proton Resurgence. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just watching the episode yesterday. Sheldon has found out that Professor Proton is online. He hosted Sheldon's favorite science show when he was a child. Sheldon's going to email him right now. Raj needs Howard and Bernadette to watch Cinnamon while he's working during the weekend. Sheldon confirms Professor Proton is coming. Sheldon's writing him a fat check, though. While Leonard's trying to sleep, Sheldon's talking to him in his room as Sheldon is super excited to see Professor Proton. In the morning, Howard and Bernadette have lost Cinnamon. Must have left her at the dog park when Howard was throwing like a girl. Professor Proton has arrived. He says to call him Arthur. That means we're friends, Sheldon says. He also says he can get as close to him as he wants without it ruining his eyes. Professor Proton seems pretty excited to meet Penny. Is the blonde girl your girlfriend? Really your girlfriend? Professor Proton says to Leonard. Yes, sir. You're the genius, Professor Proton says. Leonard and mostly Sheldon are freaking out over Professor Proton. He asks Penny if this is really happening. Howard and Bernadette are looking for Cinnamon in the car. They're driving around looking for Cinnamon in the car. They're not looking for Cinnamon inside the car. And Howard, and they're using an Indian accent to mock Raj, and he likes Bernadette's Indian accent. Professor Proton doesn't want to be Professor Proton anymore, and he thinks he's going to go because he doesn't want to do this anymore. And Sheldon says he can have Penny leave. He says that she's the reason he stayed this long thus far. Penny asks some dumb questions to Professor Proton and Leonard about what you talk about. Or Professor Proton, after those dumb questions, asks Leonard, what do you two talk about? Because she's not very bright. And then Professor Proton was one of Sheldon's few friends growing up, in his opinion. Oh no, Arthur is having a issue with his pacemaker. He sat in Sheldon's spot, and surprisingly, Sheldon doesn't complain about that. I would think that he would, hey, that's my spot. Can you have your heart issue somewhere else? Raj gets a call that someone's found Cinnamon. And he's like, what the fuck? And he goes to pick her up. Paramedics are taking Arthur to the hospital, and Sheldon's allowed to go with. Bernadette gets mad and gives Raj a guilt trip over him not telling them that he has had Cinnamon for a few hours, left them worrying. And Howard tells Bernadette she's going to be an amazing mom. Sheldon's singing Soft Kitty to Arthur. He asks if he should sing it again, and Arthur says, no, didn't really like the Soft Kitty. And then Arthur asks Sheldon if he could fill in for him at a booking, and Sheldon wonders if he should call himself Professor Proton Jr., and Arthur says, sounds great. And then Sheldon says, in a way, it's like I'm your son. Whatever, Arthur says. And then Sheldon hugs Arthur and says, father. And Professor Proton says, sure, what the hell, to end the episode. Some pretty funny stuff in this episode. I'm going to score it a 9.2 out of... No, I'm sorry. An 8.2 out of 10. It's not a 9.2. And my character of the episode is going to be Sheldon because he's fucking hilarious. And as many of you know, I do rate Penny because that's the reason why I started watching The Big Bang Theory, is because I saw Penny on the screen when my roommate was watching it at the time, my roommate. So in this episode, I'm going to give her a stunning 9.5 out of 10. She looked really good to impress Professor Proton. So you've heard what I have to say. Now, of course, it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please Hulk smash that like button. I can wait. Share the video. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms if you deem it shareable. Sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Big Bang Theory. If you can remember it well, what would you score it, and whom would be your character of the episode? I know it's hard to choose between Sheldon, Leonard, and Penny most of the time. And, of course, if you want to rate Penny like I do, like I said, she's the reason why I started watching this show, so that's why I rate her. Do it if you want. I gave her a pretty high score. She looked good in this episode. She looks good in most episodes. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel. You're watching the video anyway. Join the team. Show your damn support and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.